The day she
I'm
said stay the
so
night,
proud
the
of what you
sunlight
did.
was still spilling
Thank
through the
you. That
windows
means a
like it
lot.
had something to
You deserve
prove.
it.
Dust floated in the air, the kind you only notice when a room has been quiet for too long, and my heart was beating with the nervous weight of every unfinished sentence between us. I had come over telling myself it was just to help her sort a few boxes, just to be useful, just to be there. But the moment her voice softened and she asked me not to leave, something cracked open inside me. I told her I wasn't sleeping on the sofa, not because I was brave, but because I was tired of being the almost man in everyone's life, the one who stayed but never belonged. That single sentence carried years of loneliness, self-respect I was still learning, and a fragile hope that maybe this time, staying would actually mean something. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of showing up for someone when it matters most, take a second right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs it, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that are still healing. Her name was Maria, a name that sounded like warmth even when spoken softly. We had met months earlier at a community library fundraiser that smelled of old paper and fresh coffee. She was organizing donated books, her sleeves rolled up, sunlight catching the small scar on her wrist that she never talked about. I noticed the way she listened, really listened, when people spoke, as if every word deserved a place to land. I was fresh out of a job I'd loved and a relationship that had ended without fireworks, just silence. We connected not through grand gestures but through shared pauses, through standing side by side and feeling less alone. Over time, our friendship grew into something heavier, something neither of us named because naming it would have meant risking it. That afternoon, her apartment felt like a half-finished chapter. Cardboard boxes leaned against the walls, some labeled in careful handwriting, others left blank as if she hadn't decided what they were yet. The air was warm, the kind of daytime heat that presses gently against your skin and makes you slow down. We worked quietly at first, folding clothes, stacking books, deciding what to keep and what to let go. Each object carried a memory she hadn't asked for. Her last relationship had ended suddenly, leaving behind more questions than answers, and though she never spoke about it directly, I could feel the echoes of it in the way she hesitated before touching certain things. The challenge wasn't the boxes or the mess. It was the space between us. Every time our hands brushed, I felt the pull of wanting more and the fear of wanting it alone. I had been the safe place for people before, the one who stayed up late listening, the one who slept on sofas and left early, carrying my feelings quietly so I wouldn't burden anyone. I told myself this time would be different, but habits formed in loneliness are hard to break. When she asked me to stay the night, it wasn't dramatic. It was said softly, in the middle of the day, with the sun still high, like an invitation and a question wrapped together. I struggled with what staying meant. Staying could mean crossing a line neither of us knew how to redraw. Staying could mean waking up to expectations I wasn't sure I could meet. But leaving would mean confirming a fear I'd carried for years, that I was only ever temporary. When I told her I wasn't sleeping on the sofa, I wasn't demanding anything physical or dramatic. I was setting a boundary for my own heart, asking, without words, if there was space for me to be more than convenient. The room felt still after I said it, the afternoon hum. Outside louder than it had been before. Maria didn't answer right away. She went back to taping a box, her movements slower now, more deliberate. I watched the way her shoulders rose and fell, the way she paused as if listening to something inside herself. This was the challenge we both faced, the moment where old wounds met new possibilities. For her, trust had been broken in broad daylight, promises unraveling when she least expected it. For me, self-worth had been chipped away by years of being chosen last, if at all. We were two people standing in the middle of a bright day, deciding whether to risk the dark together. As the hours passed, the apartment transformed. Boxes were stacked neatly, the floor cleared, the space beginning to feel like a home again. The sun shifted, painting long shadows across the walls, but it was still clearly day, still honest and open. We made a simple meal, the kind you throw together when you're not trying to impress anyone. Eating at the small kitchen table, we talked about ordinary things, work, favorite places to walk, the books that had changed us. Underneath every word was the unspoken question of what would happen when the light finally faded. I thought about all the times I had stayed silent when I should have spoken, all the times I had accepted less because I was afraid of losing what little I had. This time, the struggle felt different. It felt like standing at the edge of something real. When she finally met my eyes and nodded, not with certainty but with honesty, I felt a weight lift. She didn't promise forever. She didn't rush toward anything. She simply made space. In that moment, staying didn't feel like a risk. It felt like a choice we were both willing to sit with. The rest of the day unfolded slowly, intentionally. We opened windows, letting in the sounds of the city, kids playing, someone laughing in the distance. It grounded us, reminded us that life kept moving no matter how heavy a moment felt. We talked about fears we usually kept tucked away, about the exhaustion of starting over, about the quiet hope that maybe this time could be gentler. There was no rush, no dramatic turning point, just a steady building of trust that felt more powerful than any grand confession. As evening approached but the sky remained bright, I realized how different this was from every other almost relationship I'd known. There was no hiding in the dark, no pretending. Everything was happening in the open, in the honesty of daylight. I felt inspired not because something perfect was unfolding, but because something real was. The struggle shifted from whether to stay to how to stay without losing ourselves. We agreed, without formal agreement, to take things slowly, to let the night come when it was ready, not because we were afraid, but because we respected what we were building. The emotional weight of that day settled into something warm and steady. I helped her hang a few pictures, each one a small act of claiming the space as hers again. In doing so, I felt like I was reclaiming parts of myself too. I wasn't there to fix her or to be saved. I was there to share the quiet work of healing, side by side. The suspense wasn't about what would happen next, but about whether we could keep choosing this kind of honesty when things got harder. As the hours passed, I noticed how my body relaxed, how my mind stopped racing ahead to worst-case endings. I was present in a way I hadn't been in years. Maria seemed lighter too, her laughter easier, her movements less guarded. Daytime stretched on, unhurried, as if giving us permission to take our time. We didn't need labels or promises. We needed patience, kindness, and the courage to stay awake to our own needs. The moment that stayed with me most wasn't dramatic. It was when she leaned against the counter, watching the light change, and thanked me for not leaving when things felt complicated. That gratitude hit me deeper than any declaration of love ever had. It reminded me that being chosen isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet and steady and rooted in respect. I realized then that my boundary, the simple refusal to sleep on the sofa, wasn't about comfort. It was about dignity, about believing I deserved a place, not just a corner. If this story is touching something in you right now, if it's reminding you of a time you chose to stay or wished someone had stayed for you, please take a moment to like the video, share it, and let us know in the comments. Your engagement tells us these stories matter and helps them reach others who need a little hope today. As the day finally began to soften into evening, there was no rush to define what we were. We sat together, comfortable in the silence, understanding that healing doesn't follow a schedule. I felt inspired not by certainty, but by the willingness to try. Staying the night, in the truest sense, meant staying present, staying honest, staying kind to ourselves and each other. It meant recognizing that second chances aren't about erasing the past, but about choosing differently in the present. Just before the ending, here's a special request for you. Comment below and share whether you believe setting boundaries can actually bring people closer together. Your words might help someone else see their own situation more clearly. When I eventually left her apartment later that night, the sky still holding onto the last traces of light, I felt full in a way I hadn't expected. Nothing dramatic had happened, yet everything had changed. I walked away knowing that even if our paths shifted in the future, that day had taught me something vital. I was allowed to ask for more. I was allowed to stay without shrinking. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is stand in the daylight, speak your truth, and trust that the right person will make room for it.